Good evening. My name is Eric Lindstrom. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Inland Wetland Commission meeting for the town of Monroe. Today is May 13th and the time is 7:05. Will everyone please stand to recite the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll take a roll call of the members of the commission and staff present during tonight's hybrid meeting. Please answer here or present, starting with myself, Eric Lindstrom, Chairman, Ryan Kelly, Vice Chairman. Here. Mark Zamery, Secretary. Here. Rick Smith. Here. Jim Stewart. Here. Paul Fernandez. Here. And Andrew Brodman, Inland Wetlands Enforcement Officer. Here. Before we start, I'll read our mission statement and how the meeting will proceed. The objective and purpose of the Inland Wetland Commission is to provide for the overall protection and preservation of the inland wetlands and watercourses within the town of Monroe. Please note that this meeting is being conducted utilizing electronic equipment in compliance with State Law Public Act 21-1. As such, this meeting is being recorded and will be available to the public in compliance with state law. If you are attending remotely, you will automatically be muted and unable to unmute yourself. If you wish to speak during the public participation portion of the meeting, please use the raise hand function. If you are participating via telephone, press *9 to activate the raise hand. Staff will announce your name and unmute you when it's your turn to speak. The video feature has also been disabled for public participation. Anyone participating remotely should state their name and title, if applicable, at the outset of each occasion that such person is speaking. All votes taken during which any member of this body are participating remotely shall be taken by roll call unless the vote is unanimous. The chat features will not be utilized nor considered during this meeting. In the normal course of our meetings, we will hear public hearings and other applications. The protocol for public hearings is to have an applicant make a presentation to the commission, during which and after which the commission will be asking the applicant questions. Ask the applicants to keep their presentation as concise as possible. The commission will then review town staff and other independent comments. The meeting will then be open for public comment. I will ask that all comments be made to the chair or commission. After any and all comments pro, in opposition, or of a general nature are made, the applicant will be given an opportunity to respond. Please keep comments or questions direct, or a time limit of 3 minutes may be imposed. It is not necessary that the applicant respond, but generally in their best interest to do so. There will be no further opportunity for new questions unless new material is entered in with evidence or testimony during their response. Please keep all comments pro and con specific to inland wetlands related matters. Other applications that do not involve a public hearing will follow a similar format, with the exception that there will be no public comments allowed. The meeting follows our published agenda unless otherwise amended. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I'm going to make one suggestion on the agenda. We have a resident here. It's under enforcement for IWR 2019-02. It's under enforcement. I feel like it would be a pretty quick presentation. He falls on the agenda after the regular hearing, after the acceptance, and after the public hearing. So just a suggestion if you wanted to hear him first.
To move it up.
If choose to do that, I need a motion for it. If not, he stays where he is.
Anybody want to make a motion to move IWR 2019-2 to the beginning of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to move IWR 2019-02 up to the top of the agenda after regulated activities, before regular meeting activities.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, so let's move that up. All right.
So I didn't realize that after regulated.
That's worth. No, that's okay. Okay. So at this time, general public participation. If there's anybody in chambers who'd like to come up and speak in a general nature, nothing before us this evening. Anyone online?
There is nobody online. but this would actually be a good time. James, can you hear us?
Yep, all good.
Okay.
Okay. Then we will get started with the regulated activities, IWC 2026-03, file number 1584, 70 Huntington Road, proposed installation of a 12 by 16 shed with upland review area.
Joel Lineker is the property owner. He's here tonight to present his project. He was previously in front of this commission to informally talk about his project. I don't know if you remember it. It was a shed that's close to a water course, and that's why the commission required him to put together a full application. And this is just for acceptance, whether it's going to be a public or a regular hearing. Joel Lineker is here, and the floor is yours. Did you sign in?
Yeah, I signed in. For the record, Joel Lineker. I reside at 70 Huntingtown Road. And as Andrew has just stated, I was here in December of 2026 for an informal discussion regarding the placement of a 12 by 16 foot prefabricated shed in an upland review area located at 70 Huntingtown Road in Monroe, Connecticut. As a result of that discussion, it's my understanding that the commission does require a full inland wetlands application versus an inland wetlands agent approval would be required. Thus, you should have a packet, or you should have a packet for that full application and the supporting materials that are required for that application. Some of those items, as you know, include a new A2 survey that was done in March of this year, a wetlands and watercourse delineation report from William Kenny Associates out of Fairfield, Connecticut. They're a soil scientist and environmental agency. There should also be a map of 2 alternate shed locations as proposed. And then there's other supporting documentation as the application requires. And like Andrew said, I am here to answer any questions regarding the packet and asking if you will require a public hearing for this application.
Sorry, did you say you're requesting a public hearing?
No, asking if you are going to, asking you if you are going to require a public a public hearing for this application. As you know, I do then need to address abutters and notify Hartford and Aquarian, and that has to be done in a timely fashion.
And this is a photograph of the shed.
Yes, there's a photograph of the shed. There's also an interior image of the shed, so you know that it is not being insulated. In the application, there is a question about why the shed and what are you using it for? Primarily, I own the property adjacent to it, which is 90 Huntingtown Road. So the water course that runs through there, that's been mapped by William Kenny, water comes down from Gusky's Pond, which is town property, and then runs into my property at 70 Huntingtown Road. There's a pond that's been remediated based upon that storm 2 or 3 years ago. Then it drains out of that, and then it runs the full length of 90 Huntingtown Road into Newtown. Why that's important is that I believe there was a talk about a map of needing to know what the overall area looks for 800 feet. And my adjacent property does cover more than that. So you can see the complete entrance and exit of the water course, at least to Newtown as well.
I'll let the commissioners know I've been out to this job site. If you have any questions on topography or I'm familiar with the site.
And just to finish the other comment is that what I'm using this for, I'm not using to store any kind of motor type vehicle, lawnmowers, weed whackers, any toxic materials, none of that. It's purely being used for either any seeding that I have to do on the site in the future, maintaining both properties, 70 and 90 Huntingtown. I've been here for 35 years, so I think I'm a pretty good steward of that site. I have no intentions of building anything on 90 Huntingtown Road. And if you look at the maps more thoroughly, you'll see that the topography is rather severe. And really, there's kind of like one prime location for the placement of this. But the map also, there's another map that also shows you two other alternates.
Starting at the end, yes, sir. Collins, you got any questions or comments?
No, I don't.
Rick, how about you?
Yeah, so, Joel, Mr. Lineker, I do appreciate the length that you went to. It's a good package. Looks like the proposed shed is at about 466 and that the pond itself is at 458 or 460. So that's not a lot. Are you expecting at any time that the shed's going to get
Flooded?
Yeah.
Though when we had that large storm 2 years ago, none of this, the area where the shed is going, none of it flooded. Water didn't even get to that point. So I don't anticipate that it will. However, there is, as the alternate site, there is one farther into the site, going down the site towards 90 Huntingtown Road, which I think if you look at those elevations, that elevation drop is about 4 foot difference from what the preferred location is. That did not flood either, but it is 4 feet lower. The site is not in a floodplain at all, so I don't have to worry about that concern.
I think the relevant factor is that it didn't get flooded.
No, it did not get flooded during that storm.
I'm satisfied with what I see here.
The only question that I have is, in the list of things that you mentioned, would and would not be stored, I didn't hear anything about liquids.
No, liquids in what, when you talk about liquids, meaning gasoline, things like that?
Plain oil, et cetera.
None of that. None of that.
It is noted. You did note that, though.
I did note that, but I'm just saying no, but it's good that you asked, because I would ask the same question. Really, I'm using it to try to maintain both parcels. And if you saw that typography, I know this sounds ridiculous, but climbing up and down those hills with with whatever.
I'm good. We will make a motion to
hold a
hold a,
Motion to go to a regular hearing.
we have a motion for a regular hearing. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay.
Thank you for coming in, Joe.
I'll just talk to you about if there's anything else I have to do before that. This first.
Moving on, so we're gonna move up, enforcement IWR 2019-02, file number 1290 48 Cold Spring Road, and unpermitted structure and debris in a regulated area.
Okay, so in your packets, last week, you'll see this remediation plan. It was approved by the commission, the IWC commission, back on January 22nd, 2020. It had a completion deadline date of May 31st, 2020. While I was investigating a different potential violation, I looked at GIS, and GIS revealed that the structure is still, so this is unresolved. So it brought to light the violation being unresolved. Further research revealed the approved plan that you have in your packets. The applicant was notified for a site inspection. He came into the wetland office as he was instructed to, and to explain the current conditions. And he was instructed to appear before the commission at tonight's meeting. Due to the expiration date and none of the work got completed. The former permit is null and void. So Bob Saban is the resident, and he's here to answer any questions and find out whether we want a totally new application or what he needs to do. A totally new application, do you want to see it as a full application? Can he submit the same information? The permit that he has is null and void. It's as if it doesn't exist.
Right. Do we have that original permit application here?
In your packets, you had the original decision,
Remediation.
okay, which was recorded on town, in town rec, with the town clerk.
Out of Curiosity, Andrew.
Yep.
Not that the length of time that it went unresolved is acceptable, but also when you look, a violation happened in January of 2020. The world was a different place then. Work needed to be done by May of 2020. So again, not forgiving it not ever being completed, but was there any kind of protocol for things like this back then? Like,
Okay, so it doesn't, there are COVID rules. It did not apply to this because this has an expiration date on it. It didn't apply to this. It had not, it did not apply to this.
did I read it right? The expiration date is in May of 2020? Is that?
The expiration, well, the approval date was 2020 in January.
Completion date that was May.
Completion date was May 31st. So the commission really only gave him, what's that, 4 months to complete this project. And if you look at the project, it's moving a shed, it's replanting, it's relocating. Well,
And there's been no contact since.
and there's been no contact from the town side to inform him.
Right. Okay.
Bob?
Is he here?
Yeah, would you sign in also, put your name and address on there? And try to speak into the microphone for staff to be able to hear.
Speak now or?
Yes, please.
Reason I didn't get it done,
Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Robert C. Saban, 48 Cold Spring Road, Monroe, Connecticut. And I got that, COVID started. Sick daughter that had to move in with her daughter. She's still sick as we speak. Very sick. And then I got cancer within that year. And, I've been paying basically for my daughter's bills. I didn't have the money to spend on it. $35,000 to do that. And I just didn't have the kind of funds to do that. And I've been, saving so many funds, putting it aside and basically waiting. I don't know for what, but I just waiting and saving and saving. But basically, that's what happened. I've got also, like I say, I got cancer and I got an intestinal disease. And that's what happened.
All right. Andrew, what are you thinking here based on?
Okay, so your
So
options.
you were not here when this all started,
I
but
was not here. This predates me. If you look at the plan, it's a pretty extensive plan. There's planting involved. There's moving 2 sheds involved. I need some direction from the commission because really this whole permit is null and void now. So
right.
our choices are we hear the whole presentation again. You could either allow him to use all the same material that was submitted the first time, so he doesn't have to go get resurveyed and redelineated. You can suggest having me approve it with an agent approval since there was already an existing permit issued, but it is null and void. But based on all of that, you could allow me to do it as an agent approval
Right,
and he'll have to go through the permitting process to get an active permit to remediate. If he's willing to, follow the plan
right,
and do the application fees and then he'll have an active permit to do the work. I will need a completion date from you.
right.
And if there are any extra conditions of the approval that you'd like to see other than what was originally agreed upon.
Right. So since none of us, except for maybe Commissioner Stewart, were here for this, maybe we should kind of start from the beginning and go through why we got this before we even decide whether we should accept it and move on. That's okay. I don't know if you have like the whole backstory on.
Bob has the backstory. I don't have the backstory other than there was a violation. I don't know how it was. I don't know how it came to light, but he's encroached onto town property.
Right.
Okay. There was some tree removal. There was.
Well, what happened was, for my house, dead end in Cold Spring. And a tree fell, tree warden stopped by. And not this tree warden, the guy that was there before. And he says, something don't look right here. And that's how it all started. And so I hired Bjorkland and whatever I had to do to get things kind of moving. And it took a while. I had surveyed. These are still on the ground going. They're on my property, sticking right up in the air through my lawn, right straight through. And basically, I have one tent to take down and one shed to move about 40 feet this way. Basically, that's about it.
And then there's the plantings to remediate. There's two structures that need to be relocated. It's indicated on the plan where they're getting relocated to.
Right.
And then there's all the plantings that go along with it.
Are you prepared to do this?
Yeah.
Are you ready? You got the money?
I don't have the money.
So how are you gonna get this done if you get another permit?
Well, how long do you want to give me to get it done?
And that's what we're asking you, sir.
How long do you need to get
Yeah,
it
how long do you
done?
need?
What are you willing to pay?
I'm retired, but I'm working another job because of the bills home with my daughter, the hospital bills. I'm paying them. So I'm doing the best I can and I'm putting money aside. But this is going to be a $35,000 job. And so basically, I mean, if you were to tell me, well, I want you to get it done by September, ain't going to happen.
So when do you think you can get it done? What's realistic for
I mean,
you?
that's a really important question to ponder and answer because I'm sympathetic to the timeline of this first situation. The unprecedented thing happened in the world. But again, time has passed since then as well. I understand you've laid out the life challenges that you've been dealing with, but we can't just say, okay, we're going to give you more time and then it's open-ended. So we need to put some guardrails around this getting completed.
What if I said a year?
I think so. If I could just jump in as well, right? I think the commissioners are giving you the opportunity to see what's realistic for you, right? So if you feel that truly a year is realistic for you, then say that. But if you feel that some different number, say that as well.
Yeah.
So at least we could take it into consideration, right? I'm not here saying what we will and won't do.
Yeah.
Just saying, let us take into consideration what you feel is realistic, I think is what the commissioners are saying.
Okay.
And as well, what is the expensive part of the project? The plants?
Plants.
Is there weighted to
That's a
limit
great
the plants
question
and
as well. Great
Can we-
question.
can we-
put smaller plants in or, you know what I mean? To make it less expensive so we can get it done?
I think it's an overkill on the plants.
Can we set deadlines? or
It is
phases?
what was approved.
Right.
Okay, so
Well, I think that for me, and I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody else, you can to yes or no, but I think we should go through the whole application process right from the beginning, as if this didn't even happen, so we can review it thoroughly. It was a whole different commission before that approved what was here, and it's been 6 years, so I think we should have a resubmission, start fresh, and if there's an opportunity to maybe adjust some of the plantings and maybe reduce some of the costs, still make it acceptable, but maybe not as expensive, I think we're all okay with that. We don't want somebody to spend money just for the sake of spending money. And if you want to work with them and take a look, review what's there and have some suggestions, I'm all for it. And then same thing, we will take into consideration, your situation and your timeline. That will factor into our decision. But I think, like I said, we should go through this whole process from the beginning. Whole new application. I think we're okay with probably accepting a lot of the documentation, like the surveys and all that. I mean, it's only been 6 years. Nothing's changed. It's still staked. So, we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
I kept every stake.
Yeah.
Wherever you put them in the middle of my lawn and back of the shed, and I kept an orange ribbon around them.
Right.
So I knew what they were.
So, I mean, it sounds like we can move this a little bit more efficiently. And if we can help with some of the plantings and reduce, some of the requirements, I think we're all okay with that. But I think we should treat this as a new application. You guys all agree with that?
I would agree. If you had not said that, there's too many plantings or had some if you were willing to accept it the way it was and said we can do it in a year or a year and a half, whatever, then that would be one thing. But if there's going to be any considerations or any thought about, then I agree with you, Eric.
Yeah.
We need to go through it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I would ask for my point, I would ask for a phased plan. So within a year, this is what I plan to get done. Within the next few months, so maybe he could keep some of the plantings later and fund that. Money doesn't pop into your bank account without planning. So a phased plan would be amiable to me.
Yeah, well, the last commission that approved this, I don't know if I can say this, were horrible. They didn't give me an inch. So I'm sure there's room for those plants. He said, I want those inspected and they better be right to the inch where they are in the plan. Just things like that. I'll put all the plants in and then, you throw something like that out, it's rough, real rough.
Well, we can't speak to what was said in the previous meeting because,
Right.
like I said, we weren't here. But
Yeah, right.
so if you're willing to resubmit and work with Andrew, come up with an alternate plan, we absolutely will review it. And
You say resubmit, just resubmit an application? Or I don't have to do the plans over. That's.
no, you don't have to do the plans. That's what I was saying. As far as most of the documentation, I think is going to be acceptable for us. Don't need to get a new survey. What we've done is still, fine for us. But you have to start the application process as if it's new because this one expired. And so we're not going to try and rework an existing one. We're going to treat this as a new application.
But if you want to put less plants in, it'd be nice to see a sketch of what you propose.
Correct.
Yeah, we'll need to see what that looks like, not just agreement that
right.
it'll be less.
Right. We need more specifics than just less. So
Like I have the map of it was done by a landscape architect.
right.
Could I do it off that map?
You cannot use, not if it's stamped with their stamp.
Oh,
Okay, so you could use the drawing, but it's not approved by a landscape architect.
So you might need to invest in a new drawing from a landscape architect for that portion of it. But if it's going to save you X amount on potential plantings,
Can he just use the same, just throwing this out there. Can he use the same drawing and then put his signature to say that this is not an officially approved architect diagram, but it's what his thoughts are? Is that legal to do?
Yeah, you could just Xerox it and
Yeah, Xerox.
cross out the other stuff and put your own information on it.
Just cross out the stamp. Say that it's, right?
Yeah.
So save you
But
some money.
if it's a clear note that this is not,
It would have to be said, it would have to state prepared by Bob Saban on a date. And then you can make whatever changes you want because it's no longer tied to the professional stamp of the landscape architect.
that's fine, or even crop it out so it's not even on the paper. Okay, too.
I got a question for you. The last commission told me to put a fence in all along there. A split rail fence. Is that necessary? I mean, it's just gonna destroy my backyard having that thing going this way. Yeah,
The reason why it was suggested was so that this doesn't happen again. It's a split rail fence, creating a barrier, visual barrier with wetland markers. So the next person that owns the house will know that this is the property line and this is the wetlands.
Right, that's pretty typical for a commission to require that.
So
Let's just-
I would recommend that you draw up what you feel is reasonable when you come back to us. I think we may propose certain things based on what we think, but if you keep giving us, I mean, it's probably something we would propose anyways from what I'm hearing, right? But, you should propose, like, for example, I won't talk to that particular topic, right? But if there were X amount of plantings proposed, you're saying you don't agree with that, well, put what you propose on the drawing. We could always come back and say, no, you need to add 10 more, right? Just making it up.
yeah,
Like, I think kind of what I was saying before, put what you feel is realistic, but make sure that it's something that we would probably
yeah.
agree with as well, right?
It's something that would look like in my backyard too, I just don't want it to look like, oh, what happened, The signs that are up there, what happened?
Because it's easier for us to say, no, you need to add this, this, and this, as opposed to you come with whatever and say, oh, you don't need to do that. Right? You don't need to do that.
Yeah,
But, in fairness, make it realistic enough for us.
yes, I understand. Sure. Let's see. The shed, that's a no-brainer, that's just gonna be moved.
It has to be moved. It's not on your property.
Right. And the tent, one of those tents, I put that about 15 years ago. I'll just take that down. Get rid of it.
Please hold on any work. If that tent is on town property, you're going to need an affidavit, a hold harmless clause, which I'll get for you from the lawyer. You can't be on town property without a hold harmless clause. So don't do any work. Don't remove that until you have a permit to do that.
Okay. I'd see you on that.
Yes.
As far as the idea of just taking this planting plan and just taking a stab at changing,
Hmm.
as far as the cost of working with an architect, a landscape architect, I mean, maybe it's too far away, like from when this was originally worked on, when the plan was originally built. As far as cost goes, maybe you can't answer this for me, but wouldn't it be feasible to go back to that architect and have them go back to the plan and modify without it being a starting from scratch project? You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? I'm
You're
worried about how many cycles we may go into trying to just eyeball it.
okay. So the answer is, you're asking what the professional fees could be
Yeah, I
based on
understand.
just making changes to this. I really can't answer that.
I worry about just eyeballing and how that may play out and the challenges we may face. I mean, maybe not, maybe I'm thinking about something that's not worth thinking about, but
Well, that's also part of the application process. If he chooses to not bring in an expert and submit just a handwritten note.
Yeah.
That's up to us to decide if we want to accept that or not, or
Yeah.
go the extra step and get the professional.
And if he doesn't hire professionals, just the application itself, he's going to need my help to get him through that because there's a lot of information that needs to be presented on that. Now, I don't know what records you have. I do have a lot of digital copies of this. I was unable to locate the physical file. I'm going to say probably because this was all pre-COVID, right through COVID. I could not find physical copies of everything, but I do have digital files. So I can help with you to, if
I got them too.
you have everything.
Everything from the day one.
Okay. All right.
I mean, to Vice Chair Kelly's point, though, you may just on your own want to just reach out to the architect and say, hey, how much would it be if I were to do this, right?
Yeah.
It's a nominal cost. You may choose to do that because it might be a quicker path for you.
Yeah.
But
I know he's not from around here, but I'm sure his name's on a print phone number.
I'm sure it's worth the phone call to find out what he would charge to make these changes and submit it all again.
So I would ask him to just cut down the number of plants that are on there to make my cost.
Yeah, I think I would, if I were making that call, I would say there may be an opportunity to reduce the planting plan, the number of plants. It needs to be done intentionally and thoughtfully, but there's an opportunity perhaps to reduce that number of plants. And if you're asking about the fence as well, talk about the intention of that fence, why it was put there, as the commission has said, and ask if there are any creative alternatives that could be suggested. That could potentially be part of it too, right, Andrew?
And the landscape architect may also turn around and say, this was my professional opinion on what it takes to remediate this, and this is what I feel it's going to take. And then you have your answer.
Mhm.
They're not going to put their reputation in jeopardy to.
Where is this an area? I mean, what's the reason why it needed to be rebuilt?
Let's not get into it too much.
Because it's number one, not on his property.
Okay, but it was disturbed, it was filled.
It was disturbed, yeah. So a shed was installed,
So
not
this-
on the property. Trees were removed, leveling. So disturbance, yes.
But I mean, obviously, it's all growing back in. It's
all grass.
It's 7 years. Okay.
It was woods, now grass.
Okay.
40 years ago when I built the house, I cut back there and I made all lawn out of it. And well, basically that's it.
All right. Well, I think it makes sense. Reach out to the organization that did it the first time, see what their opinion is.
Yeah, sure.
Go from there.
I should ask him what he thinks I could do to cut down on some plants without making it like scarce.
Well, I think your question to him isn't so much the quantity, it's the cost of things. Say, we have an opportunity to maybe rework this plan. I'm trying to help with the cost.
Yeah.
Any recommendations of what you did to maybe help reduce the cost that is still acceptable?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't ask for, other than you have an opportunity to maybe revisit these plans. Your goal is to have it not cost as much as it did.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, so I would like a motion to have the applicant submit a full application. I don't know that we need that motion, but I think I'd rather have it.
You want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to ask that IWR 2019-02 file number 1290 for 48 Cold Spring Road submits a new application.
Full application, I do.
Full
see
application. Yes.
With any proposed changes.
Well,
A second.
We have a second. All in favor?
I,
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. So now we're moving down to our regular meeting. IWC 2026-02, file number 1581, 8 Fox Run. Installation of propane tanks, fill and level rear yard with retaining wall in upland review area. Tracy Shalafo, applicant and representative. I hope I didn't butcher your name too much.
Catch,
Thank you.
Catch you up to speed. This application was reviewed at our last regular meeting where the commission determined that it would be a regular hearing to be opened at tonight's meeting. And Tracy Chalifo, landscape architect, is here, representative for the applicant. And the exhibits.
See anything on this?
And there were no new exhibits to read into record. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Is this picking my voice up well enough?
Up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. For the record, I'm Tracy Chalifo, landscape architect based in Danbury, Connecticut. And tonight I'm representing Mr. Daniel Caruso, the owner of 8 Fox Run. Andrew, would you like to share the screen from there, or shall I do this?
Here.
Thank you so much.
Control.
Teamwork.
Leave. All right, I'm going to need you for this. So I put you in there.
So it should be.
Say problem.
Probably, yes, from there, exactly. So it's, this one.
This one?
Yep. Hit that. Okay,
Got it?
yes, thank you so
Let me
much.
share that screen. Oh, you're in.
Perfect, okay. Okay, so the wetlands are to the north of the home. And the home is relatively new. It was built about a year and a half ago. I believe the previous residence had burned down and a new residence was constructed in a similar location. A survey was performed, so there's an up-to-date survey to accompany this. Here are some photos of the existing work area. That's indicating an above-ground propane tank immediately behind the deck of the residence, which is actually going to be abandoned because they've been having some issues filling this in a safe manner. As you can see, it's quite a steep slope. And this is going to be removed and replaced with 4 above-ground propane tanks right at the back of the house under the deck. Another shot of that area. And you can see it's quite vegetated here. There's a lot of layered woodland in this area. So that's an area that we really don't want to disturb. We want to sort of pull the disturbance away from that area. Okay, just reduce this.
One clarification I wanted to make from when you presented this at the last meeting. You had mentioned that the propane tank, the large propane tank that was coming out, you had mentioned that it was an in-ground tank. It's actually an above-ground we had talked about. And also, one of the commissioners, would you just confirm the height of the proposed new wall in your presentation? There was some confusion there.
Yes, the proposed retaining wall at its highest, it does vary in height slightly as it tapers to follow the grade. But the wall is approximately 9 to 10 feet at its highest point. So you will see there are top of wall and bottom of wall elevations here. For example, top of wall 449.75, bottom of wall 440. So that's almost a 10-foot tall wall in that area. And then it tapers in this area. It's approximately 5 feet tall. And in this area, it sort of tapers to meet grade. So the intention is to not disturb the earth below the wall beyond what is just necessary to construct this large segmental block wall, which will have a drainage system behind it to intercept any flow coming down the hillside. The owner's seeking to create, I can't say level lawn, but we'll say leveler lawn, because we're trying to find the balance of increasing his usable area. So this is about a 5% pitch on this lawn. So, soccer ball is going to be going down there, but at least it's an area that is actually usable. Whereas currently it's so steep that it's just eroding and he's really not able to utilize it for his family. And he really has no other lawn areas on the property. So the proposal involves this retaining wall here at the north perimeter of the lawn, and also a small set of segmental block steps that would match, and to increase the lawn, actually make the lawn more level immediately behind the house where there's an existing patio. And the 4 new propane tanks would be located along this wall, the rear wall of the house. He'd like to preserve some trees within this area by way of building tree wells to protect them. And then there are some trees to be removed. There are some dead and declining birch trees in this area that are intended for removal. There's a twin oak in this area and another birch here to be removed. These trees, we would actually leave tall standing stumps to serve for habitat. We refer to them as snags. So hopefully we'll get some perhaps woodpeckers utilizing that, maybe some insects living in there. The homeowner is environmentally minded, so he would like to give back. And you'll see there's also a mitigation plan prepared for this. A split rail fence would be installed at the top of the wall for safety and also to further serve as a demarcation between the usable lawn areas and the wetlands. No construction is taking place within the wetlands. It's all within the upland review area. And the only disturbance in the wetlands is actually some removal of invasive vegetation, which is primarily Japanese knotweed, and to install some native plants that are a bit within the wetlands. Construction access would be by way of the driveway. An anti-tracking pad would be installed. The infiltrators would be protected with construction fence. A stockpile would be probably situated within this area with silt fence at the downhill side. And now we'll just move to the planting plan. There are a mix of native trees and shrubs proposed. Just want to zoom out here. So a mix of swamp red maple, Amelanchier canadensis, which is also known as shad, and a couple of oak trees are proposed, some within the wetlands, some within the upland review area. So these are to replace, even though the trees are dead and declining, the majority of the trees are going within that area where those trees have been cut to snag height. And also more densely in this area, we have some spice bush, we have some sweet pepper bush. It's quite a wet area here, and another shad. And then above the wall is a red oak. And then in the area where the above ground propane tank is being removed, we're going to restore that with some winterberry, male and female, so that the fruits occur. Dr. Stephen Danzer, who's a wetland and soil scientist, prepared a report that is in your packet to accompany this application, speaking about.
I have no packet.
You don't have any?
Last week, you got it last week?
No packet. The good plans, but I have no packet, except for what I'm seeing.
For that.
It was a new file.
I did, look, I got what I got, okay.
This is everything
No,
associated.
it was, but I would have looked for this. Because I know the application.
All right, got it now.
Thank you, Andrew.
Keep that together for me.
Yep.
There's an environmental report to accompany this application that speaks about, in this case, the lack of impact to the wetlands. There are planting details to accompany this application, silt fence detail, your anti-tracking pad detail, and any areas adjacent to the wetlands that are disturbed. So this is really the area below the retaining wall, would be seeded with a native wet mix by New England wetland plants or equal. It contains about a dozen to 15 species of native perennials, sedges, and grasses. Restore. Engineered details have been provided for the retaining wall that actually match the reality of the wall's layout. And there's a drainage system behind the wall, so that will handle any runoff from the hillside above. So you'll see there are 3 sheets from the engineer of that. And also, we looked at some alternatives. You know, before we came to this location to choose to expand the lawn, we wanted to really consider if there would be an area that would be less impactful. So one of the studies looks at the area immediately behind the house, where in the initial photos that I showed you, said there's quite layered forest within that area, and it's native and it looks healthy and well balanced. So it wasn't preferred to build a wall here. And another functional consideration is that the septic system is within this area, and we really would have no way to access it, you know, in these small areas, either very close to the house or very close to the property line to get here. So the negatives were that the access, disrupting this beautiful native forest, and also at that time, we weren't sure that the tank was going to be removed. So we were also worried about the tank at that time. So this third point no longer comes into consideration, but the other 2, in my professional opinion, important points come into consideration. And it also would push the wall quite close to the wetlands. The access would be a long way around. And another alternative that was considered, this is Fox Run, where it bends to the south, behind, well, in front of the residence, I guess. So this area is a very steep wooded hillside, and there could be ledge there, we don't know. So we looked at the idea of shaving this down, but if they hit ledge, then they possibly could be chipping for hours and hours to accomplish this leveler lawn. So the negatives were disturbing established vegetation, excessive cut of up to 12 feet, even to accomplish this, so that the wall would be even taller than what we're proposing in our current scheme that's before you. And the expense, sorry, this one's a large amount of fill would have to be exported to accomplish this. And for all of that, they would just be achieving a small gain of lawn area that wouldn't even be perfectly level. We did receive some comments from Mr. Brotman, and one of them was, would plaques be incorporated to demarcate the wetlands? And there currently are some plaques on the existing trees and at the turning points. But the owner's also open to placing plaques on that split rail fence that is at the top of the retaining wall, if that is the commission's preference. So I think that covers the extent of this plan. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Hear any comments?
Start on at the end there.
No questions. How many yards of fill will be brought in for this plan?
I can get back to you with that quantity, the cubic yards. I'm waiting for that from the contractor, actually.
I noticed that on the northwestern part of the property that goes along Fox Run.
Mhm.
You're right near that culvert with that wall.
Northwest side.
So, yeah, so the wall there, where you have, I think it's tree well, but you're right next to that culvert.
Okay, so this is the tree well. This is a wetland flag
That's the
right
culvert.
here, and here's the culvert,
Right.
yes. So eyeing this, we're probably about 15 to 20 feet from where that daylights.
So did you consider, instead of having a jog that goes out and making a platform that overlooks the wetlands, why didn't you just cut in? So you have this, and before you go into the 12, 16, and 44-foot sections, why don't you just cut over? You follow?
Cut over. Sorry, and actually I have a hard copy here as well, if that helps.
What I'm saying is, this corner,
Yes.
just above 5 feet deep,
Mhm.
if you came over,
Oh, I see.
you would
Okay.
have a lot less fill, a lot less lot less impact on the wetlands, and you get a lot farther away from the culvert.
Yeah, so you're talking about just extending the wall from here to here, is
No.
that correct?
No. From that corner
Mhm.
to here. This way. Moving the wall this way,
I see, okay.
coming in this way.
Mhm. Actually, let me scroll to the site plan.
Right. So this wall comes into right at 44975, right across. You don't mess with those trees. I don't know what you do if you put a well on this one, but did you consider doing that? It's a lot less impact.
Yes, we had some studies where the wall was a little further from the wetlands, and I think what the homeowner was trying to balance was increasing the lawn area enough to make this worthwhile.
Well, it's not going to be a soccer field no matter what you do. It's
Correct.
a very small plot. This is a very small plot for years and years. There are people living there. The house burnt down. It was, Mr. Caruso knew when he moved in what he was getting. So I appreciate that he wants some level property, but this is an important corridor.
Yes.
There's a pond right off the map. And you can talk to the neighbor on Hillcrest. He'll tell you how many deer go through there and how frequently.
Mhm.
It's an important corridor between a number of developments.
Yes.
And I see deer track down there all the time.
Mhm.
I just would like to see less impact on the wetlands, less fill. I appreciate your desire to have a soccer field, but you're gonna have to walk just up the street to the complex there. They have some open fields if you want to play soccer. I'm just saying, you're not gonna make a soccer field out here.
Right. Understood.
And I feel like currently this plan is significant impact on the wetlands, significant impact to constrict this corridor, because that just goes down into a valley and all the deer and the wildlife go through there.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation. Thank you for that. And very thorough. Thank you for walking us through some of the alternatives as well. Definitely appreciate it. I think I just have one question. Andrew, maybe you can help me with this. So have the 4 propane tanks already been placed and moved? Has that been permitted already or?
They've been moved. No, this proposal, that's part of this.
Part of the proposal. So is this going to go through permit through planning and zoning, or because I think there's a certain amount of feet away from windows if they're going to be right up against the house?
Yes,
That's not for us to decide.
it's not for us to decide. It's got to go through health. It's got to go through the fire. It's got to go through the building department. Zoning has to take a look at it. So it's going to be reviewed by all departments.
Okay.
It has been reviewed by our engineer, who's actually here online, if you'd like to speak to that. But he said he had no comments. I had some comments that have been responded to. But yes, it would have to go through, all the departments would have to review this, yes.
Okay. In terms of wetlands, I don't have any other questions that weren't already asked. Good, thank you.
I think I'm good too.
what I'm thinking is this wall as it goes to the west, I guess, at that same break point. Could the wall be kept at 448 as opposed to climbing? And as opposed to coming over before the trees, come over just after the tree, the second tree. Keep it at 448, so you don't need any tree wells. Because my experience with tree wells are not, generally, they're not too great for the tree. How big are these two trees?
They are, my apologies, the tree sizes were not shown on the survey, but I can measure them and get back to you. I could only guess at this point, maybe 12 to 24-inch caliber. They're sizable, and that's why the owner really would like to keep them.
So the tree well is going to be 15-foot tree well? But to me, if you could keep, because your wall is climbing in height. So if you could keep the wall at 448, and that way these trees could be left at grade, and pull the wall up next to that tree. So you'll get a little bit of a combination of what was suggested and what you've got. And you won't have a hole, a 2-foot hole in the middle of your lawn.
Yeah, how deep are those wells?
These walls would be approximately, if we're at about 450, they're about 2 feet deep, these wells. And I think the key is also to make the wells ample enough, give them enough horizontal distance to help protect the root system of the trees.
Right, but I agree with.
But you're getting more lawn, but you're having a hole in the middle of your lawn.
Which can't.
Kids are gonna be running around.
Right. So I'm inclined to agree with both the commissioners. If we can start the curve of that wall a little sooner, I think it'll also help to not have to have any of those wells around those trees, and I think make everybody a little bit happier with keeping that corridor a little bit more open. And
Keep the wall consistently away from.
right, because we're just basically hugging that demarcation line right there. So if we can get a little bit more distance from it, I think everybody would feel a little more comfortable.
So just a clarification on trees, when you give us an inventory of trees, we'd like to know how many trees are being taken down and respective diameters or class of diameter, 12 to 20 to, but there's significant trees in there.
Yes, we will provide that, definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, because I've provided a list, but I don't actually have the size on this list. 2 dead birch, 1 declining birch, a dead tree to the left, which couldn't be identified at the time because it was dead.
There you go.
So the trees that are living, it's the 1 twin tulip, 1 twin oak, and 1 birch, which is at the westernmost extreme portion of the wall. That is this birch. There's the twin oak, and then the twin tulip is here.
We could do a sidewalk if you wanted us to. I wouldn't mind walking the property. I can see it from the road, but to see actually, you can't get the lay of the land unless you're in the yard.
That would be your request for the site walk. So it's not their decision. If you wanted a site walk, you ask for the site walk, and if they're willing to do that.
Right now, I'm not favorable on this application. I think I'd like to, in order to get favorable, you want to convince me, and I should see what what the property really looks like. So it's, if you can accommodate me and any other commissioners, I think that would be.
Coordinate that and put it out.
I will coordinate that, and we'll have that before our next scheduled regular meeting.
If I could check with the owner on that?
Of course.
Sure, I'll coordinate that. I'll coordinate that with you and with whoever else, what other commissioners want to be for the site walk and the homeowner. I would also say the homeowner is online. I don't know if there's anything.
Yes, perhaps.
I could make them a panelist so we could hear them if you had any questions to the applicant. If not, I mean, this is the representative, so.
Unless they feel they need to chime in with something, and they're welcome to. I don't think we have any specific questions for them, but that's up to them.
It's just a minute.
Hello.
Yes.
State
Hi,
your
I-
name, state your
Oh,
name and
my-
address for the record.
Sure, my name is Daniel Caruso. My address is 8 Fox Run.
Is there anything you'd like to add to our conversation here?
No, you guys are more than welcome to do a site visit. I do want to add one thing to this is that Pioneer already came with the 4 propane tanks. They said that had already gotten zoning and approval from the town, and somebody came to inspect the lines the other day. So that part of that part has already been put in, but it's not active or live, and there's no propane in the tanks. So I just wanted to clarify that happened today. Pioneer just stopped by and surprised me. So that I didn't even have time to notify Tracy before coming in here. That's how sudden that happened. I was at work. So I just wanted to make sure that the commission was aware of that.
So there obviously are plans then to, regardless, remove the tank that's in the back, regardless of what happens with this plan at this point.
Yeah, because Pioneer's forcing the issue, saying that it's a hazard for their men to go down that steep hill to fill up the tank.
Really, it is a separate issue.
Yeah, no, it is.
Propane's gonna go regardless, yeah.
So, right, they've already moved forward with that piece of it. It's got nothing to do with us.
Right, exactly.
I just wanted to clarify that to everybody because they said that it has not happened, but that the tanks are in, but with no propane and not active as of right now. We're still using the old tank.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Caruso, is the old tank still there?
Yes,
Yes,
he
still
said
there
it.
and still
Still being
active.
used.
Gotcha. Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's just summarize what we've kind of requested here. We'd like to see maybe an alternate to the bringing that wall further away from where it currently is, closer to those trees, and maybe even eliminating those wells altogether if the grading will work properly. Was there anything else other than that we wanted to have them? Oh, you wanted to see more detail on some
Quantify the trees.
Fill quantity and.
fill quantity in the trees,
Yeah.
right? Was there anything else? Did I miss anything?
No, that's what I had.
Do you have any other questions, folks?
No, not at this time. Thank you for your input. Appreciate it.
And I guess we'll continue to our next one. All right. Moving on to IWC 2026 01, file number 1564. This is 1603 Monroe Turnpike. Proposed construction of excavator contractor facility and remediation of wetlands. Bruce Monroe Jr. applicant, Donald Smith Jr. representative.
Okay. People today.
If you would. Yeah, that's the impact thing. But I got none. My packet was 10.
I think because it was in the week.
It wasn't even a special.
It wasn't a special meeting.
So we're talking like.
Okay. Handing out site plans, it's a new exhibit, it'll be entered into an exhibit, so, tomorrow it has to get processed. The representative is handing this to us now. It's very much the same plan as what you have here, except the
Updates.
the upland review area is shown as in red. And I will take the old plans back. Yeah, he wants to present those to planning and zoning without having to read them. So that's your new one.
This is not the one. That a friend.
I know, I got a whole bunch of it.
That's your,
This is the old
yeah, right there in your hand. Yep.
one. Okay. So these are old ones too?
Yeah,
It's medium old, yeah.
Yeah.
this is your active one,
This one?
the one I just gave you.
Yeah, no, it's over here. So
Yep.
I can get rid of all these.
Is that the new one?
Yep, that's the new.
What's the carrot?
That was a good
I like
click you did. I thought it just appeared there.
Okay, Andrew, whenever you're ready, you let us know.
Only because it was a while ago, I'll just remind you that this application was presented on January 14th meeting, where it was determined to hold a public hearing. The public hearing, it was due to both significant impact and public interest. The public hearing opened on February 25th, and it was tabled until tonight's meeting. Then go ahead and read the exhibits into record. Exhibits 1 through 10 were read into record at the last meeting. So we started exhibit number 11. It was received on 4/14, and it was responses to comments and revised plans. It was submitted by Don Smith Jr., professional engineer. Exhibit number 12 was received in on 4/29, and it was the engineer's comments presented by James DeMeo, professional engineer. Exhibit number 13 received in on 5/1, and it was a revised preliminary review, and that was submitted by myself, Andrew Brotman. Exhibit number 14 received in on 5/6, and it was a site walk memo submitted by Andrew Brotman, myself. Exhibit number 15 was received in on 5/11, and it was responses to those comments submitted by Don Smith Jr., professional engineer. Exhibit number 16 received in on 5/12, which I just gave to you now, which is a map with the red wetland line, upland review area line on it. And that was submitted by Don Smith Jr., professional engineer. And exhibit number 17 received in 5/13. It is the West Cog memo presented by or submitted by Tucker Bennett. Document date of 9/2/25. And those are all the exhibits. Don Smith Jr., professional engineer, is here to present.
Yeah, for the record, Donald Smith Jr., professional engineer, 56 Greenwood Street, Newmark, Connecticut. Here tonight representing the applicant, Bruce Mondo Jr. And partial property owner, Bruce Mondo Jr. and Bruce Mondo Sr. Is here with us as well. And Jen Benno, the biologist, is here in the audience. And Andy Powers, our invasive management specialist, I believe is online. What was that, the last correspondence from West? Is that just
That was just submitted today. It'll be entered. I don't think it was processed yet. Let me see.
I'm just wondering what that was and. We're gonna-
This was received on, September? Exhibit 17, is that?
That's this one here with the big red stripe on it.
Yeah, it says September 2nd.
Yeah, that was on your table today.
Yeah.
And that's from Westcog.
Yeah.
I think that was,
It was
Dated September 2nd.
just.
received in. Yeah, I need a copy of it.
That was,
It was received in on the 13th, so that was today. Oh, this is a memo from, this is from Kathleen Gallagher, Planning and Zoning Administrator. This was our referral, our positive referral for the zone change.
This isn't a positive referral. This says in no uncertain times, regional staff cannot recommend this degree of development. The benefits of 100 feet of vegetated riparian buffer and reducing waterway contamination are significant. And this buffer should be maintained wherever possible to meet the zoning requirements. That's not a referral.
That was entered in as an exhibit today, so it is actually up online.
seen that.
Unless you were looking for it online.
This was dating back to September 2nd. That was from the referral back to the original zone text change. As it was a zoning change, it got sent to the regional agencies. This was revised or not. But that was to planning and zoning.
It doesn't exactly say,
It says clearly.
we can't, yes, it says we can't recommend a degree of development within this, given the existing use of the lot, proposed project, significant improvement. They're saying, yeah, we wouldn't recommend it normally, but it's already being used.
He's just saying that there is a significant improvement in stormwater management, which would be necessary for this application regardless. But he's also saying the benefits are significant and this buffer should be maintained.
Wherever possible. Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm just saying it's. Can we get some clarification from Kathleen at some point on what prompted this? Like, did we send this out? Like, how did we end up with this email? I mean, it looks like we sent it to him in July.
Very end of July, came back.
And it came back
Early
a month
September.
later.
That was correspondence from the regional agencies to the Planning and Zoning Commission when they held the public hearing for the zone text amendment.
I see it.
Established the SDD number 8. We appeared before you folks at that same time for that.
But we never saw this until tonight.
Pardon?
We never saw this until tonight, which is a little, that's why I would like to talk to Kathleen about this and see.
Well, it is the start of the public hearing, so.
Yeah.
13th is today. It says it was received on the.
It was received today.
To us, yes. Okay. So would like to talk to Kathleen about why it took months for us to get it, but I guess it's,
We'll get some clarification
We're gonna get
at the
some-
next meeting.
yeah. In any event, okay.
Just that, what is the typical process? So this looks like Kathleen sent a positive referral to Westcott. And then they said, while they typically would not endorse that kind of thing, given the circumstances, it's a significant improvement. What is the process after a positive referral is granted and that is sent out? Is
Planning
awareness?
and planning and zoning has to review.
But is this purely like this communication? Is it just about awareness, providing awareness to Westcott? You know?
I don't.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying, but it doesn't say, it says it represents significant improvement in stormwater management. But regardless, in general,
But that's not the point I'm making. The point is, it says, thank you for submitting the attached referral. So this may not be about approval of any kind. It may be just providing awareness for the approval that was granted.
well, we'll have to find out.
Probably, it's probably a requirement in the zone change to notify the COG because it's near a town line or something.
Correct. It's a zoning text, it was a zoning text amendment. The creation of the SDD was a zoning text amendment. The zoning text amendment has to go to the regional planning agencies for a referral on the text amendment. And that was the response from the agency back to the commission for the creation of the SDD for this project.
Well, it seems pretty clear to me, but I think we're gonna need to get some clarification on this one.
Yeah, so we'll get some clarification, so let's move on, because there's lots more to go through. So, okay. Let's continue, okay?
Okay, so as Andy indicated, let me just kind of back up a little bit. We were here back in February, and part of that, one of the comments, the major comment that we received from the initial submittal that we made was you wanted new wetland flagging and topography of the watercourse, the unnamed watercourse. Andy, is this got to be shared, or do you want to get this?
Yep.
Sorry.
You have it up on your screen?
I do. Okay, so there was a question about the, wetlands flagging here of the unnamed watercourse. And, due to the weather that we had this winter, we were delayed in, getting that, reflagged and the topography made. And what I did is it's a little bit hard to make out on the full-size plans. But what I wanted to do was to do a little bit of an overlay between the prior wetlands flagging and delineation versus the current one. And on this map here, the gray numbers and this gray bold line that's outboard, those were the prior delineations from 2016 or 2017. And the black lines, the bold black lines, are the current delineation by Bill Kenny and Associates. So you can see that basically in pretty much all locations except for this one location over here, but pretty much in all locations, the current delineation is inside of the prior delineation, representing less regulated area under the current reflagging.
Not significantly.
So for those that were down on the site walk, this wetlands flag number 4, this point right here, that was that spruce tree or that hemlock tree that was right there on the edge of the bank.
And it's all undercut between
Is
4 and 3.
area just upstream of that, yes.
It's the undercut.
the undercut over here, and then the undercut was over on the other side between 17 and 18.
The square footage really didn't reduce much at all, if at all, versus the old, you're saying it's inside the line, but it's, the other area is outside the line.
Oh,
Okay.
right. So that was the first thing. So we had that new delineation done, and the new topography. The initial comments that we made date back to the April 14th submittal and review comments that were basically prior to that. So the town engineer had asked for the calculations for the sizing of this water quality basin down here up to the west, to the southwest side. And back on that plan set in 325, we had provided that sizing info on sheet number 4. We had provided some the riprap swale and bank stabilization details that were asked for by the town engineer. This riprap swale that's up by Roosevelt Drive was not on the drawings. Town engineer asked for that. They asked for the snow storage areas to be delineated on the plan. So the cross-hatched areas, all right, and the northerly section here. So this northerly area, this cross-hatched area here is a snow storage area, as is this section over here along the stone wall, snow storage area. And then down on the southerly section of the property, the snow storage area is up here in the center of the driveway and up above the 100-foot upland review line off of the unnamed watercourse. So they had asked for those snow storage areas to be shown. Staff had asked for a note and delineation of the materials that are placed in the storage bins. So over on the right-hand side of the drawing here, we have the earth material storage bins to contain concrete, dirt, etc., which is basically returning from the job. Concrete sands, pipe bedding, broken 3/4-inch stone, processed aggregate, topsoil, landscape mulch. Bins are not to contain road salts or any de-icing materials. So that was some information that you wanted on the plan of what was going to be in those bins and what was not. Also added a note about the westerly storage area all the way over to the west. The stored materials up in that area include road plates, shoring equipment, trench boxes, excavator buckets, PVC pipe, septic tank risers, etc. So basically dry storage over in this area. If you recall, previously, this was like a 2-level storage area. There was a storage area down a little bit lower, or I'm circling, and then another one up above. With the increase in the size of the water quality basin, it was not feasible to maintain this storage area down the bottom. So we enlarged the upper storage area and eliminated the lower storage area. But net results are we lost about 900 square feet of storage up in this area due to the larger water quality basin, which is picking up the runoff from that gravel area and treating that before it's discharged. There was a question on surfacing of the north storage area. All right, so this north storage area is going to be a gravel surface, processed aggregate surface. with the exception of the area that's under the storage bins, which will be a paved surface. So that's paved under the storage bins, but the rest of that storage area would be a gravel surface. I think town engineer requested some revisions or some clarification on the height of the lighting standards that were proposed or that are proposed around the northerly storage area. There's a lighting standard up behind the wall here. Basically, lights up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 lights that are above the wall would be limited in height so that the luminaire is no more than 20 feet above the storage area. So the poles for the lights above the wall will be, let's say, 14-foot poles, as opposed to the poles on the lower storage section that would be 20-foot poles. Town engineer had also asked the erosion control notes on page 7 be revised to reflect the latest regulation date. There was previously a note that we had about the installation of the existing 36-inch and 48-inch culverts, and former Public Works Director Woody Lovejoy, we would ask that we remove that from the plan set, which had been done. The upland review area has been shown, that line has been shown in red in accordance with your regulations. And that first set of plans that Andy collected got printed yesterday, and I didn't notice the line wasn't in red, so that's why I swapped those out. We added additional spruce tree plantings up here along the northerly edge of the retaining wall and between Roosevelt Drive and the retaining wall to replace some of the trees that have been removed. We've also added fern and snowberry plantings along the face of the retaining wall. Jen will speak to that, but we've got a line of ferns and snowberries at the base of along the base of the wall. We have proposed 59 linear feet of riprap bank stabilization. So on the unnamed watercourse, so some of that is here on this bank where it was undercut and undermined. And then we have another small section on the opposite bank where it was also undermined. More than 60 feet of shoreline stabilization requires a, less than 60 feet requires a self-verification notice to Army Corps of Engineers. More than 60 feet of, between 60 and 300 feet of stream bank stabilization requires a pre-construction notification to Army Corps of Engineers, and over 60 feet, over 300 requires a full-blown Army Corps permit. We wanted to try and stay under the 60 feet of stream bank stabilization to facilitate the Army Corps permit.
So how many feet of
59.
15? Oh, there you go.
We had provided some pictures and detailed some repairs, but that junction chamber at the end of where the culvert comes under the railroad, and then it joins the 36 and the 48-inch. It's about a 10 by 10 or 10 by 12 stone chamber. It needs some work, which the Monroes agreed to. We, in terms of inside the structure and mortaring up the voids and the like. And then we've detailed out a precast concrete slab that would sit over the top of that with this conventional manhole opening on that. So We do have the details of that further back in the drawings, but I just want to touch base on it at this point. Surveyors were back out on the site again to locate the wetlands flags, pick up the topo. And they confirmed that the green rebars at the property corners that were noticed and questioned by Mr. Wiley, those were witness stakes that were installed next to the original iron pins. My understanding is that the surveyor had some discussions with Mr. Wiley about those pins. And then the surveyor had also confirmed that the boulders that were placed along the Wiley property line are on the Monroe property. And that was up in this area, up in here. Okay. So that was the original set of comments, the original revisions that we made to the plan sets on April 14th. And then based on the April 28th and May 1st comments from staff, we made some additional changes. And that's why you have just the two sheets that are in front of you tonight. Did not carry those changes through the whole set, but they were put onto those sets. But the water quality basin, again, was enlarged as part of those discussions. So that's what's pictured on that plan now. God moved that snow storage area from the southerly section. We moved that out of the upland review area and designated that. We have provided, or Jen has provided, some additional tree and shrub plantings. And let me zoom in a little bit here. In general, I've got these two areas shown, a strip here along the unnamed watercourse between the gravel road and some of the riprap bank stabilization, and then more between the storm drain outlet. But we're proposing some plantings down along the stream, along the unnamed watercourse, in addition to those plantings that are up next to the wall. Comment was made and asked if we could relocate the stormwater outlet from our stormwater management system, if that could be pulled down to the south a little bit. If you recall previously, that outlet was more up here, which brought it out lower onto the unnamed watercourse. So by pulling it to the south, it seemed to work out a little bit better. Discharging out to the south. We have provided 7 more trees in the upland review area, outside of the upland review area, but this little triangle here that's next to the widened Webb Road and outside of the easement line for Eversource Energy, we have this little area up here that we were removing some trees, so we've gotten 2 more larger trees proposed in this area. And then down here, as I discussed with this larger water quality basin, we now have a slope to the west of it, and we have proposed 5 additional trees to be planted in that area as well. So we've tried to adjust the number of trees.
The bushes or trees?
Trees.
That was as a result of what?
More trees, and then I'll let Jen comment on the number of bushes and shrubs that were planted at the base of the wall and then over along the brook. I'll let her comment on those species.
Has that been suggested since the site walks or prior to the site walks?
These were what?
The additional trees and bushes.
All these plantings were based on comments that were raised at the site walks and additional.
Were comments made at the site walk or?
No,
Okay.
there's a site walk minutes, and there was a site walk memo, which was exhibit number, which were comments made by me after the site walk. It's in exhibit number
5-1 memo.
15.
We need to get this at sidewalk at all. Good, that's what I wanted to know. Not discussion. It was brought up in the meetings here.
We did not ask for any more bushes or anything like that nature.
No. This was an exhibit that was submitted.
Mark was just
There
concerned.
were additional comments made after the site walk.
Okay, thank you.
The review comments from him.
Those comments were addressing previous comments, so I was revising my comment letter so that they would be better prepared for questions that came in here. And in one of those comments was, I still think that the planting is very light, and so they added plants based on that,
Yeah,
where
I
they could.
wasn't intending to get into that quite yet, but I was just curious of the timing of that. So I think you answered my question. So.
And then Andrew had asked for a little bit more detail in the violation narrative, which we provided, and hopefully that is sufficient at this point. The changes to the water quality basin dribbled down into the inspection and maintenance manual, so we had some minor changes into that. The upland review area and property boundary planting recommendations by Jen Benno had been revised. A copy was submitted, Jen will review that. And the invasive plant management strategy plan was also revised based on comments. Prior comments at the meeting and comments from Andy. One comment from Andrew that we're still working on is he had asked for some water quality testing, both at the discharge of the culvert onto our property, and I guess at some point later at the discharge of our stormwater management system. But we're reviewing that with some environmental folks, and I don't have anything to offer on the type of testing or the quantity right now.
Can you just show me where you plan or at least recommend to do the water quality testing? Because when I was there, I saw a lot of discolored water. So I would think you would want it.
At the final discharge point.
Well, in the beginning too. What's the water quality?
That's what I said. We were looking at
No, well before that, like when it's coming out from underneath the tracks.
where it's coming out,
Out of the. Yeah.
where it's coming out of the 48-inch pipe onto the property.
No, you should test it in that pit there. Right there. You should test what it's like there first. You want to see what it's like coming from upstream before it even enters your property. I mean, you don't have to, but I'd rather see it starting there and further down. I want to know where it's coming from.
I agree.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably from the railway, but you can't tell unless you get close to it.
Yeah, that's the furthest
Jen, do you
upstream
have-
you can get. You might as well start there and then in a couple points further down, see if it's the same.
And then finally at the unnamed body of water at the bottom, right? So you can see the difference between
Beginning and the end, yeah. And somewhere in between.
middle's fine as well.
Yeah.
Pretty discolored.
Yeah, we all saw it.
So Jen, if you could address the water quality or what we think, no, you can't.
Well, they'll have to do some testing. But we're asking for some detail on it. So,
Yeah, you'll have to do testing. I think what I'd like to hear though tonight is, if we're getting into it, right, is that, my understanding, if you could keep me honest here, is that where this starts to flow from is not the Mondo's property. It's on an adjacent property, but you're allowing
It starts further, the water course that feeds that starts further up 110
right.
on the opposite side over just below.
However, it's being allowed to flow through the property. So at that point, it becomes, responsibility.
Correct.
So that would be one of my comments, that's all. But I think the testing,
Right, let's see what's going on there. And I still have questions about that whole connection from the one pipe to the 48 and the 36 above, like.
Yeah.
Because I look down on it and I wonder, if you're talking about repairing it, which is good, but then capping it and putting a manhole cover over it, you're never even gonna see it. So if you start to have issues, unless you open it and look at it, you're not gonna know until you got big problems. So
See the picture?
yeah, I physically saw it. Like I went there and I kind of poked my nose down. But yeah, like I don't know if this is a great solution here. I mean, it just,
If you have engineering questions, James.
well, that's why I'm asking this guy. and-
What shape was
James.
this in? That's just how you got, I mean, did you do a capacity study?
Yes,
Do we have that?
it was part of that submittal on,
yeah.
Well, maybe now's a good time to get James involved. James, have you reviewed this, seen the pictures and?
Yes, yeah. So I also we went out there and took a look at it as well in person. And we kind of walked through it. So basically, for the commissioners that are unaware, there's basically a vault there. So there's the existing head wall where the culvert comes into the property. It's nice stone mortared up very nicely, and then it looks like it was later on added on to where the mortar isn't as clean around all the stones. So that was one of my comments when we were out there was, if you're going to use this, it basically is a handmade structure, a handmade catch basin or that's basically what it is. It's significantly bigger. So they came in with their proposal to especially in the area. Yeah. So that area there where they're proposing to put the 12-inch thick, poured in place concrete wall. So they're going to pour concrete wall in front of all those stones. Because my biggest concern down there was if with water going in and getting into all those joints, it's going to wreak havoc on that wall. In terms of basically a transition. So that was their solution. I mean, again, going from an existing box culvert into two rounder pipes, I get it's less than ideal. We did look at the capacities. So what feeds, Don can go into a little bit of detail with this for the commission, but essentially there's a 48-inch pipe all the way on the other side of the old lumber yard that feeds into this. And then there's another development which their stormwater overflows into that as well, and then goes into this arch culvert. So, we looked at in terms of the capacity of that 48-inch pipe that feeds it, as well as the additional water from that other development, which basically there was we have a recent drainage report for that. So we evaluated those and compared it with what's currently installed. And it does meet capacity wise.
What could I mean, that 48-inch pipe, what happens if, did you look at the amount of runoff that's going to that 48-inch pipe? If that's undersized, and then what happens if that overtop?
The 48-inch pipe that's two properties over, like where it actually goes.
Yes.
That one, no. Because we can't.
I'm just saying, can you see the entire drainage area and say, well, that 48-inch pipe is half the size it needs to be, and if it overflows, it's just gonna run over land and still come here.
well, if I can interrupt, James.
Yeah,
But
good.
we did have that condition back in August of 24. And that was where the problem was the upstream inlet to that 48-inch pipe and then broke out there and then came out through the property, ended up in 111 and then down through 111.
Does the
Yes.
36 begin, where does the 36 inch pipe begin? Because I see one on top of the other when I saw it.
One on top of the other.
So I understand that the 48 starts at the property above, but where does the 36?
There's a 48-inch pipe upstream of the Stevenson property.
Right?
And then there are pipes that add into that on the Stevenson property. And then when it gets to the railroad, again, I'm not sure how they did it on the upstream side or how they dumped into it, but the railroad is there's an arch culvert under the railroad, not a pipe, but it's an arch culvert. All right. So when the Mondos went to do this, they put a 48-inch pipe in, constructed the structure around it. Went back later, added the 36, but that's handling what can reach it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and Jim, I know that's my concern with doing the full analysis going into that 48-inch. One, it's, you know, it comes down to then, you know, having, you know, that's already the natural choke point in the chain. So then if we made this bigger, you know what I mean? The choke point still exists.
Where? Upstream?
Upstream, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying if that upstream was overflowed, doesn't the water come here anyway?
No, that's what you're saying. It's
No.
111.
No,
Just
it goes
the way
down
that-
111.
It goes down the road.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and onto that the neighboring property and then down the road.
Okay. Okay, well then I guess I can see what you're saying. My comment on your drawing would be that are you going to be cutting that 48-inch pipe back?
I think so.
So if you could show that on your drawing, and then also if you could put your maybe a larger manhole and put it on top of the two pipes so you can actually you know, have a chance of maintaining it if there's a problem versus climbing in on the side and
Well, you know,
then you can't.
why, so we can change it from a standard manhole cover. We could put a catch basin grate there. Okay, then you've got an open grate that you could look in and see it. Also gives you a little bit more room, but did not put the manhole cover over the pipes so that there was room to put a ladder down to the bottom so that you could go down to the bottom. This is about 12 feet deep. But you could put a ladder in the structure to get down to the bottom.
Well, then maybe put another structure on top that you could use to, you know what I'm saying? A catch basin next to it, so you could use it to, you know, chain something and pull it up.
Right.
I don't know, I'm just.
Because I'm
to
worried
me-
like something's going to go in there and then it get.
I mean, to me, you're gonna be,
Again,
you're not gonna see what's going on in there.
They could also remove the slab. So because that's what I was thinking about too. So the slab is part of my request to make sure that they just don't have a 12-foot deep hole and some kid wandering, you know, at night doesn't fall in. So their solution was the slab, and again, the slab is going to be something that they'd be able to pick up and move, which is why I was actually okay with it as well, because then they could just pick that up, move it, and then pull out any larger debris.
Yeah, but it's gonna be it's gonna be a 1 foot thick, 9 by 13 slab. I mean, that's a hell of
They have
a piece
excavated.
of equipment trying to pick that up.
They have excavated.
You have something that size? Okay.
Yeah, Mondo has large equipment.
I still like the idea of having some kind of visual
It's nice to be able to see what's going on in
into it
there.
without having to lift that whole thing up, because you don't want to lift it and then go, oh, everything's fine.
Well, I mean, any storm drain manhole has got a solid cover on it. Catch basins are an open grate, but any storm, and then what's gonna get in a grate still shows up in a manhole, but to inspect the manhole, you have to take the cover off.
At least a man.
We can
I'm
change.
saying, in my experience, when things, if that's gonna get plugged, it's gonna be plugged, it's gonna be filled with water, water's gonna be pouring out of it.
Right.
And then you just sit there and wait until
Until
such
you
time
get
as
back, right.
it stops raining and it stops flooding, and then you have to,
Was
then you have to deal with it.
there any debris in that from the August of 24 floods? So again,
Yes.
the only thing that.
They got the equipment to remove it, and it's poured with some sort of lifting rings or something. They can pick it up, and they're gonna cut the 48-inch back so that it doesn't, go into the other pipe, then I guess,
Yeah.
and it's sized appropriately.
The only thing that can get to that chamber has to come down through a 48-inch pipe. So,
Or fall between the two, right? I mean,
or fall, what do you mean fall?
it's 40-inch pipe doesn't,
It's got to start at the 48-inch pipe all the way up at the upstream side of Stevenson.
no, but I mean, there's opening above this culvert, right?
No,
Just about.
The top of this culvert, that's what we said, the top of this culvert's going to be capped with a slab.
No, upstream.
Jim, no.
all in-
The
it's all
the
in
answer
the
is
ground.
no. There's the 48-inch pipe or like all the water
Goes
that
all the
feeds
way-
into this
all the way
culvert
to
is
this-
all
All
covered,
the way to this culvert.
is covered.
We think. Is there any way we could send some kind of like drone or something up the pipe to see what's going on down there? I mean, like there seems to be this big question of where does it go? How's it
I mean, you
connected?
got an aerial photo of this
We
for
looked,
the next meeting?
Aerial
Bring an aerial
photo.
photo, so show us the whole area. Here's the pipe, here's the,
looked at the aerial photos. We have the drainage report from the Stevenson property when they did that there. There's a lot of pipes under that Stevenson parking lot that aren't all shown. We did best we can to identify what's coming into it.
Some kind of robot drone to drive up it and video? I don't know. It's
so I'm gonna,
Can, hold on, let me try to share my screen. Oh, no,
I can make it,
Never mind.
hold on. Yep, hold on.
it'll let me.
Might just take a second, James.
Not to go off topic, but we've talked a lot about at the next meeting procedurally. Andrew, can you confirm for us what our timelines are for all of this,
What our timelines are,
for the hearing
statutorily, this public hearing has to close at our next meeting.
at our next meeting?
At our next meeting, it has to close. We
an
will,
extension.
no, we've used the extensions.
We've discussed this. I've discussed this with council. We will give you the extensions necessary. The 180 days is in the statute to protect the applicant, okay? Working with you, you're asking for more information. We're working with you. We will give you an extension with the caveat that we waive our rights to go to DEP. So it's, and I think you've had that previously.
Yep. So what you have here is, this is the property in question.
Yep.
The area we're talking about is right underneath here. So this is the culvert for the tracks. As you can see, it doesn't daylight at all. So what happens is the drainage from the Stevenson lumber property, or well, actually these two properties here, tie into it right here as well. And then the 48-inch pipe that we're talking about is up over here. It's actually right here.
Right over there. Yep.
Yeah, it should be like right here,
Mhm.
or somewhere in this area. Actually, I think that's it right there.
So what happened when it flooded?
So all of this area filled up with water and it flooded these properties. Then it came out onto 111 and ran down the road.
Because the tracks are up quite a bit. So
Yeah. Yeah, the tracks are up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I still would say what I'm saying before. At some point, Stevenson Lumber isn't gonna be Stevenson Lumber anymore. And they may be required to enlarge that pipe if it's not sized appropriately, because again, in a 100-year storm or, let's say a 25-year storm, can it handle the flow? In which case it flows down the road and it causes destruction. So
So it didn't handle.
I got a
Well-
problem with accepting something that's undersized.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't compare the 100 or a lot of these other storms, but the only storm that I know of in recent history that it couldn't handle was the August storm, which obviously nothing is designed for that.
No, obviously, but
Yeah, so-
I'd like to see
but-
something to say that it's how substandard is it? Is it substandard? You know? Just because if I understand that it might not see it now, but Stevenson Lumber is not going to be that way forever.
Right. We're
Someday
gonna change it.
we may say, hey, how big is that pipe? It's not big enough. You're going to be putting a 60-inch pipe in there. And then, of course, we're tied into a
Right.
48 and a 30. So that's what I'm looking at. It doesn't mean you're going to have to do anything. I just would like to see what it would have to be. And then is it time to ask another
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
Do you guys have a industrial stormwater discharge permit? And can you supply us with the industrial stormwater pollution prevention plan that you're required to have?
Do you have an industrial stormwater permit from DEP? No. I'm not sure they qualify under.
Oh, yes.
Am I,
What's it called?
it's industrial?
Industrial stormwater discharge permit. I mean, you're a contractor's yard. You would definitely have to have one. So I'd like you to look into that and let me know, because that has certain stormwater sampling in the future and
Right.
reporting, regular reporting, regular site inspections. I know I got 4 sites and it's a big pain in the ass, but it's got to be done. So
Right.
you having that would make me feel much more comfortable that it would be maintained in the future. Because there'll be someone else looking at you, making sure that the documents required are submitted.
We'll look into that.
Any more questions or comments regarding that specific part before we move on to anything else?
I just would really like to find out the source of that. If it's rust, where's it coming from?
Right, yeah. Ask them, we'll hopefully get an answer on that. Anything else?
With regard to the water,
With regard to the water, but let's talk about the riparian corridor.
Yeah, no, right. Just want to make sure we're done with that topic and we can move on to something else. So I just don't want to jump back and forth. So, okay. Go ahead. You have some other questions.
It appeared before we went that there probably could have been more plantings in that area. Has that been suggested since, I'll ask again, since we did the site walk? Because I don't want to request it again if
Right.
already mentioned by yourself, Andrew.
It has been addressed. Exhibit number 15 that was submitted was
and these 10 small spruce.
was a revised
Exactly.
comment letter. It was a revised comment letter for me. And in that, some things were satisfied, some things were not satisfied. So they did make some changes. They did add some plantings both in the riparian corridor down below and in the upland woodland area. And how many additional plants were added?
15 behind us. It's pretty.
I want to say it was 5 trees and 20 shrubs, 30 shrubs.
Plantings, pictures.
Just with this last revision, there was 7 trees and the 34 shrubs. And then prior to that, the 10 spruces we got, the 40 shrubs and 70 ferns along the base of the wall.
So it was,
Want to share again, Andy? I'm sorry.
Say again?
Share my screen, sir. Not to steal all Jen's thunder, but here she comes. Yeah, you queued up.
I think, James, I have to take you off as a co-host in order to get our screen back, right? Give it a minute.
I'm sorry, did you ask me something?
oh, he's just trying to get rid of you.
Oh. Yeah, that's fine too.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, so this is, this should be in your packets. This is Jen's report from May 11th, Monday. So it was in your latest information that you have received. And there were basically this first paragraph here is the recommended plantings along the north retaining wall. So that those plantings were added in back in those were those were part of the April 14th submittal. Okay, and then based on Andrew's comment, but 10 spruce trees, 40 shrubs and 70 ferns along the clearing area north of the proposed retaining wall. And then as of this report, as of Monday, we added in 20 shrubs and 14 dogwood trees.
I think it's an improvement. I don't know, what you feel about that, if it's sufficient, right?
Well,
I don't know what you think.
after the sidewalk, those trees of 94 trees that you're being taken out are quite significant sized trees. There's some real big, healthy trees that you're talking about taking out. I do have a question. I'd like to see the specific utility easement deed, because you seem to go back and forth on this, what you can do underneath these utility lines. So I'd like to see the specific easement deed. I tried to get the general information, but I would like to see the specific deed that refers to what you can and cannot do underneath those power lines. Because during the site walk, it was clear to me that there was a trailer with some equipment parked right next to pole 1232, and there was some earth materials probably 15 feet away they had retaining block around them. You know,
Yeah.
pictures, but
Storage bin.
At the last meeting, you had asked for a copy of the permit that Eversource Energy issued for this project. And that was submitted to Andrew. So that was provided with after the last meeting. We submitted all the plans to Eversource. They reviewed them, took 10 or 12 months, but they finally issued a permit for us to proceed with the project as we have submitted.
okay. Well, I get what you're saying, but I'd like to see the specific utility easement deed for this property for what you're doing, because you're currently using the space underneath and very close to the poles.
You're allowed to use that.
Okay, great.
Use that.
Great. So my problem is that I believe you shoot close to the riparian buffer as Mr. Beckett had said. And I'd like to see you, and I continue to ask you to pull back closer to and use Old Webb Road. You said you needed a circular drive, can you get rid of those earth material storage bins on the southern side and put them maybe closer to the poles so that you can come, so you can give me like 50 feet from you're within 10 feet. That the retaining walls is very close to the halfway river. And I'd like to see at least 40, 50 feet away from there, leaving some of those big trees.
So given the grade difference between Old Webb Road and that storage area, they're not connected.
What I'm saying is take this area here, this dotted line there, bring that down closer to here so you can still do something round, but take these, maybe put them here where you currently have equipment and storage of materials. That's why I wanted to see the specific easement to say what it is that they're saying you can and cannot do in that easement.
So what you're
Not up to us to.
So you're asking, you want to see the language of the easement?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's really up to us to review.
Well, I continually ask them to utilize more of the space.
Right. I think we should ask, and I would also like to see them get further away from the wetlands. I don't know that it's up to us to review their documentation. That's not up to us. But we can request that we get it, ask them to move it. And
You asked me specifically for input on some questions, and I'm giving them specific input.
But I don't know that we're allowed to get their, I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can ask for that. It's not up to us to interpret what's in their contract. So, but what we can ask, and I think we should be asking, is there a way to move that retaining wall further away from the unnamed watercourse and the halfway river? Because right now, yeah, there's points where it is like 10 feet away. That's too close, I think, for everybody here.
That's my other.
Especially seeing the embankment, so it's down to the current embankment.
So however you need to do it, we'd like you to move that wall. And if it means reducing the overall size or moving some of these storage bins, looking at what your, easement allows you to do or not do, the goal is for us to move that retaining wall further away from the river, both of them.
Is there a downside to you doing that? I mean, it seems like a pretty straightforward request.
So that,
I think that's kind of what all the commissioners are thinking, right? Is there a downside to you doing that?
Downside?
Yeah, would you not?
It would be a lot less fill if you would move it up.
Probably be less costly for you.
Right.
Probably less wall too, right?
so I mean, obviously you understand what our concerns are here with it being that close to the waters. So we'd like to see some options with where it's not that close. If it means reducing the size or shifting, spaces around or changing a grade to make a driveway here instead of there. I mean, frankly, I don't really care what the easement says. I just don't like it being so close to the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric, the reason I asked for the easement is because during the sidewalk, you made a comment of, well, we can't do that. Well, I keep hearing you can't do that.
I'm with you. Believe me, the goal is to get the wall further away from the water. That's the goal.
Yep.
The how is up to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's let them figure it out. The challenge for you guys is to figure out what you are allowed to do, given your limitations based on where, this easement is and everything else. So I think that's, everybody here, I think, is pretty much on the same page with, is too close to the water. So let's see what you can come up with to get it away from that. In addition to, let's minimize how many trees we're taking down and maybe add some more. It looks like you already did some more plantings. But everybody wants that wall moved. So I think that's your next step, to see if you can rework this drawing some and give us some more clearance. Me personally, I think it should be at least twice, if not 3 times what it currently is.
Yeah, if you go back to Tucker Beckett, so he said the benefits of a 100-foot vegetated riparian buffer in reducing waterway contamination are significant. We're not asking for 100. We understand that, but we're asking for a lot more than what you got.
Right. So let's see what you can do creatively. That's still acceptable to all the limitations you have, the easement and everything else.
While you're on the topic of this riparian corridor and we're talking about that, I could clarify a little bit on this exhibit number 17 that everybody was talking about. This was part of the process of getting the zone change, okay, to get it from a B1 to an SDD.
That's what I said.
All right. And on September 12th, this commission had given a positive referral, but part of that, I just want to read what it says here. Accordingly, the commission determined that the proposed special development district zone change is acceptable relative to the potential for development with the following conditions. So I just want to reiterate, this is what we gave a referral for. Okay. When I said it was a positive referral, I wasn't referring to this. And the conditions that we were concerned about, past violations will be remediated regardless of the outcome of this proposal. A comprehensive remediation plan prepared by a professional will be presented in a subsequent Inland Wetland Commission application. The remediation plan shall include a long-term invasive removals plan and monitoring protocol, and the configuration of the outdoor storage area and wall be reviewed in order to increase the riparian corridor along the halfway river. So this has just been from the beginning. That's I just wanted to state that.
That's why I asked for the deed, because I just wanted some meat.
And that's been in all my comments on all of the reviews. But that was clarification on that 17, on that exhibit 17.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more questions or comments regarding, let's say, the retaining wall?
And for me,
Are there any other areas of concern that anybody would like to bring up?
Jen, the undercut area of the, I'm sorry, but that undercut area, do you have any idea how that happened? On the contributing unnamed? Yeah.
Hold on.
I'm surprised to see that undercut. I'm sorry, I should have asked that before, maybe.
For the record, can you hear me? For the record, Jen Beno, soil science, oh, now I busted it. Soil science, environmental services. Okay, I think I fixed it.
Jen, just so you know, you're getting picked up on two microphones right there. So you're perfect. Yeah, you can just talk normal. You don't have to lean.
Great.
Yeah, we got that fixed.
Thank you. I feel better now. I was at a public hearing one time this is just a little side, and there was like a reverb. So they must have had some sort of weird setup. Yeah, it was very distracting. Anyway, I don't like to hear myself back. So yeah, the erosion would just have to be from the water flow.
Yeah, obviously, but
Excess water flow, and it's not, what is it in there? A lot of sand and gravel, so it's easily erodible. So that's why Don now has recommended some riprap. So we have the structural, and then also the planting plan revision shows some willows and dogwood in the stream bed too, right on the side in the wetland to kind of stabilize it a little better. The willows and the dogwoods are really fast growing. They have dense root mats and they'll hold things together a little better. So I don't know, that answered your question, but that's
you
why.
think that 59.5 foot is going to be sufficient?
No, it's an engineering question.
I'm sorry.
59 foot sufficient for stabilization?
It addresses the undercut areas.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you think that's really going to solve it, or is it just you're going to end up redoing it in a couple of years? Or in another bad storm? There's significant flow on that little brook, so.
Hopefully we don't have another 1,000-year storm, but, that should address that problem, yes.
Just didn't want you to pull up at 59 feet instead of go to 72, maybe if you needed it. Just asking.
You don't need to worry about it in 1,000 years.
We'll
worry about it.
Over
Be
60,
here. He'll still be here.
Oh, okay.
so under 60 feet of stream, but less than 60 feet of stream bank, 60 feet or less of stream bank stabilization is a certain general permit
Yeah, I know.
through the Army Corps of Engineers. 61 through 300 is a second level of permit through the Army Corps of Engineers. So, did you want your planting plan? I'm trying to find it.
No.
Anybody else have any questions, concerns, comments?
Just the stabilization of that stream, the stream bed. What did you say the material, what materials were being used for the stabilization?
The stream bank stabilization and what's really up on the screen now, okay, we're talking about this horseshoe corner here. That's standard riprap, which is 24 to 36 inch diameter riprap. And we've got some of that over on the opposite side where the bank is undercut on the opposite side. So we've got some large riprap on that bank. And actually, if you want to see the whole thing. No, I don't have that detail here with me tonight. Sorry.
I have a quick question.
Hold on, Mr. Chair. So Ryan, here on the screen there is the typical cross section of the bank stabilization. Filter bank blanket, 36 inch layer of standard riprap, keyed down into the bottom, 1.5 to 1 slope on the riprap. You had a comment?
I have a couple questions regarding your storage tanks and what looked like a tanker trailer next to the building there. Just curious what's in there and like if something happens and it starts leaking, where's it going to go? I know it's outside the wetland setback area, but I'm just curious about like what your drainage is in those driveway areas.
You're talking next to the back building here by this round.
Yeah, it says tank storage. It's like right near the septic, and then you had a round storage tank.
Yeah, that's exactly where he has up on the screen, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. I'm just curious what you're storing in there and what your plan is if something happens and they'll start leaking.
So the applicant tells me that tank is a water tank.
Okay, that's good. What about in the trailer? The trailer's a water tank. What about the one next to it, the freestanding tank? What's in that? Sorry? Cement. Okay.
The round one, that's what's, yeah.
Cement storage on pat. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions before I open this up to the public?
Just a quick comment, on your mitigation plan, it still shows, Woody Lovejoy's name on that. On the mitigation plan, that should be removed. We had asked that at the last one. Just when you resubmit. Are you saying no?
I'm not sure.
Mitigation and restoration plan. This is the one where you had changed it and you increased the,
So, and it's just,
Go ahead.
let me, that's. All right, so this plan that you pulled out actually is part of the invasive species report. Right? And the base map that Andy had was this plan back in 10/21/25. But by reference, it still is on there. Um, Second. A revised set from. All right, so here's our mitigation and restoration plan that's revised on 3/25/26, which is not that plan. And that note is gone, so I will convey the latest plan to Andy so he can update his base plan.
So we should not really look at this. You can update it.
The plan for what that plan is, the purpose for is for the invasive species management plan showing the areas of invasive species. The base map that it is drawn on has been superseded.
Okay.
I would also say.
Current revision date on that, current revision date on the mitigation and restoration plan is 3/25/26. That plan does not have any. So, sorry about that.
I would also say, I see that based on comments, on staff's comments, he's increased the invasive removals area to include a little bit more. But I would really, wonder why not just incorporate the whole piece of property?
He did. That's the green line around the perimeter.
Gotcha.
Matches his report that.
Like these red lines, limits?
He said he's got the various areas, but the entire property will be.
Okay, because I see that as a benefit. So if it does incorporate the whole piece of property.
What you had asked for, okay, so on page 2 of Andy's plan here, the second paragraph here in the middle of the page, it should be noted that the entire property outlined in green on the attached drawing belonging to the property owner will be patrolled for state of Connecticut listed invasive plant species. The areas listed below, outlined in red, are sites where specifically invasive plant species were observed during the initial site walk in December 2025. He's standing by his red areas that he observed, but qualified it to say, we're going to patrol the entire
Whole piece of property.
right? And then at the end of Andy's report,
He added the 3 years, I saw that.
site monitoring will be done for a minimum of 3 years and will continue with state of Connecticut listed invasive plant species are still located. So it's basically a 3-year treatment process and then 3 years after that. Okay, any other questions on the invasives with the buffers, things? Buffer and upland review plants?
Again, any more questions or comments?
My only concern, as far as the invasive species, is that site 1, where you're so close to that area where it's undercut, and you're gonna be doing a lot of work in there anyhow. I guess, we have to trust that the environmental, the application of it is done very, very carefully, especially in site 1. The other sites don't bother me as much because they're not, immediately adjacent to the water. I just, hate to see any kind of, glyphosate or anything else that's indiscriminate used along, right along the river. It's a flowing river. immediately goes out. Really bothers me. I know you haven't made much changes, and I read through the plan, but, what's written and what's done are two different things, so it's functioning to be very, very careful in site one. I don't know what else to say, you know, I mean, what do we do? I don't know, you know, we went through this before. I don't have any other suggestions.
Right.
I hate it, but I get it.
Anybody else before I invite the public to come up? Right. If there's anybody in chambers that would like to come up and speak, please sign in, state your name and address for the record.
My name is William Wiley. I live at 1609 Monroe Turnpike. I don't have, not going to say too much tonight. The only comment I would be making is, and if I could be kind of using the screen over here, we're concerned about.
Would you like to go?
Just on that drawing right there.
I'm getting it to you. Hold on. Okay, yep.
Right there. That's, I don't even, that's fine. Yeah. Just trying to get the cursor over there. That's all. Yeah, that area right there. Yeah. But we would like to, we're concerned about the way the pavement ends, showing the pavement ending over here. And the gravel driveway continuing on from it, that it's going to get eroded out because while there's drainage there, it may bypass the catch basin there and then cause erosion onto the wetlands areas within on the north side of the proposed driveway and on the south side of the driveway. And we would like to see that the 80-foot or so from the end of where it ends right now, the proposed pavement to the catch basin further to the west, about 80 feet to the west, over towards right there. I'd like to see the pavement be continued down to that point there, because we have concerns about the.
Go over the culvert, is that what you're?
No, it doesn't have to go over, no, not
Just extend it down to the next catch basin, is that right?
That's correct. That's all I have to say, and I was gonna, do I submit it to you, the comment now, or? That's all I have.
It'll be in the minutes.
Okay.
I could take.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else would like to come up? Please sign in, state your name and address for the record.
Mr. Wiley,
Yes,
do you have that in a digital form?
yes, I do.
Would you email that to me? And I'll enter it as an exhibit.
My name is Paula Jelly. I live at 290 Cottage Street. I'm going to be addressing the lighting issue that's within your purview of within the wetlands. This light fixture does not appear to be dark sky compliant. In the regulations, section 6.2, point B, quality lighting, minimizing light pollution through use of appropriately designed, installed, and maintained light fixtures which are fully and permanently fixed and shielded. This does not look shielded at all.
Do we have that? What's his?
There is a lighting plan. It is dark sky compliant. I am not.
So that's current, that is current situation, and saying the one that's working now is not working well because it's
I'm pulling this from the application.
Oh, from the application, okay.
I will continue reading. This lighting is designed to be shut off when the facility served is closed. Then to go on to 6.2.2.b, site lighting is to be designed to be subtle and ancillary to the overall site design of the building and exterior facilities, providing the minimal lighting necessary to carry out functional aspects of site operations while ensuring safety. Is an example of non-dark sky compliance. This is the bridge in Derby that crosses over the ridge. The bridge. They have upgraded to dark sky lighting. As you can see, it faces directly down. And I'm sorry, my photograph is very fuzzy, but on the perimeter, it's what they call a shielding. It like bows out a bit. So the light bulb has an extra preventative from diffusing outward. Here's an example of true dark sky. This is the firehouse directly across from my house. When they updated the lighting fixture over the doors, it faces downward and it doesn't diffuse light outward. So I'm happy with that. The old light fixture, which is very low wattage, does not bother me, but I'm giving you examples of how the light fixtures need to point down and have a shield on it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Can somebody maybe explain for me?
The applicant can.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
The applicant can respond to both Willie Wiley's comment and Paula Jelly's comment.
I guess I have more of a question on wetlands regulations on how lighting.
Before we get to him, is there anybody else on the line? Just want to make sure he has an opportunity to address all comments tonight.
Nobody else online, just our engineer.
Okay, so our first comment was about the extending the pavement, and then the next comment was about, the lighting. So if you could address both those.
So, a couple of things. So, the lighting consultant was given the regulations, so they are dark sky compliant light fixtures. The fixtures will be equipped with motion sensors so that they don't stay on all night, and you drive in and the one will go on, and as you drive in, they are on motion sensors, so not all the lights will go on or stay on.
Are they timed as well? So let's say at 9 o'clock at night, if a deer walks through there, they're not going to go on.
Oh, we will. How do you know it's a deer versus somebody that's crossing a runway out in Denver? But yeah, unless you have the infrared camera, but again, it's a trigger the motion sensor, just like it would in your backyard.
Right.
So the deer walks away and then the light's gonna go off after a couple minutes. It's not dusk to dawn lighting.
Right. Because sometimes you can turn it off. If it's on a timer, it says that regardless of what the motion activity does after a certain point, it's not going to go on because, it's not a customer or worker.
Time do the bad guys stop coming out?
That,
What time do the bad guys stop coming out?
that's, right, that's,
Okay, so we're concerned about vandalism and theft, okay? So, and I'm not quite sure how to answer this, but, this section of the blow-up plan here, so, the light fixture is over here where my cursor is, right next to the SL4A, right? That's site lighting 4. Here's the cursor. Okay, and then this, green oval is the light distribution. behind the fixture, okay, inside here, what's this? This is, sorry. So here's a 1.7 foot candle level. And then a few feet away, you have a 0.1 foot candle. So these are cutoff fixtures. In the front of the fixture, okay, right underneath the fixture, we have 9.2, 5.9, 2.9, 1.4, 0.8, 0.8, 0.4. So typically you're going to have the brightest light right under the fixture, and as it extends across the lot, you have less. So the center of this lot, we have 0.3 foot candle, 0.4 foot candle, so 1 foot candle. So there's not a lot of light being put out by these light fixtures.
Right, but obviously, like you stated, these will be conforming to the current standards.
Yes, but I'm responding to the comments that were made that they're not cutoff fixtures. They're going to be on all night. And we have excessive light levels, so we don't have any of those things. Okay, so, and
I would just comment that the term, dark sky compliant really doesn't have anything to do with us, but that's how much light goes up in the air.
Correct.
And we have nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with how much light bothers the neighbors. What we do have to deal with is how much light is in the wetlands
Correct.
and affecting the wetlands. And they give us this foot candle chart. If you go along the wetlands, it's consistently 0.
In the wetland.
Yeah, 0. I mean, maybe there's a 0.1 that's near the wetlands.
there's a
It's
point,
0.
the only point ones that are in the river or halfway river are right over here, and there's 0.1s right along the edge of the bank.
Yeah, so,
I had discussion with
From a wetland.
and I mean, that's a light that's facing down. I don't,
Right. So, okay,
Jim answered my question, so.
yeah. Okay, thank you for that.
And then the Willie Wiley comment.
You don't have to necessarily solve that today. You just,
Well, that section of the road is gravel currently.
Right.
Okay, and there are currently no catch basins on that road. So we've added a couple of catch basins on the road. This lower section, we have a catch basin all the way down at the bottom of the hill, so that's going to pick some up coming down the road. But there's also this riprap swale to the southerly side of the existing road that's there. I think we all saw it when we walked out. That swale is going to be staying there, so we'll discuss that with the applicant, but
that's fine. That's all you need to do at this point.
yeah, but
Take it into consideration. It's fine. Okay. Is there anything else we have for this evening for this? Anyone?
Just thank you for the site walks. Thank you, Bruce Jr. and Don, and I guess Jim, maybe your brother, right? Yeah. I know we only had to expose ourselves once to the ticks, but you had to go out 3 times.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, we appreciate your time.
so with the things that you are asking for, this won't be turned around in a week to get new plans to you in a week to have another meeting in 2 weeks.
Right. So I guess we need to deal with an extension.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because I know statutorily it's supposed to close at the next meeting.
Which is,
That puts the applicant in a bad,
Again,
that's what he said earlier. He's right to grant us that extension.
right.
He said,
180 days is there to protect the applicant against the commission dragging their feet and not acting.
Yeah.
The only thing, but I do believe Andrew is right. There is a concern. I don't know if the applicant can actually grant an extension beyond that timeline. The only other alternative, if the commission's open to it, having the applicant withdraw and resubmit to start a new clock and waiving the fees. Well, no, because that's gonna cause an issue with the public hearing though. All right, so disregard. I was trying to think of another option.
Right. And
anytime.
that's why.
They can withdraw at any time.
We're not deliberating, we're
Right.
hearing, so you can withdraw at any time. Find out tomorrow what the options are.
Yeah.
And we'll do what we have to do to make it work. Okay?
Mhm.
All right. We don't need to make any motion or anything, so it's just continue for now, so. Okay,
Be continued to our next hearing, our next regularly scheduled hearing, which will be on May 27th. If you have nothing, then it'll be.
cool.
Nice.
Okay. Skipping all the way down to permitted use as of right.
So if you see this was in your packet. This is IPU 26-4, file number 1585 is 566 Elm Street, expansion of an existing vegetable garden within the upland review area. 566 Elm Street is a registered farm. It's a growing facility. They sell vegetables. It's a registered farm, and they're asking for the expansion of their growing fields within the upland review area, and they're asking to do it as of right. There is a barn. There's existing fields already, and they are a no-till farm operation, so they're not disturbing soil as far as tilling goes. And they do have Yukon Agricultural Station coming by. I think it's twice a year for inspections. So they're looking for an as of right to expand their
So they're not
vegetable
filling
garden.
and
What's that?
they're not doing any filling.
They're not doing any filling. They're growing, but they're not tilling soil. They're not bringing in compost. They're growing in the ground.
That's good. So we just need a motion, all right?
We need a motion.
Motion that this is an as of right activity, and what do we call that? The institutional determination. What's the term?
Institutional determination.
Well, there's a term that we're supposed to say. Do we call that?
Motion to permit IPU
There you go.
26-4 as of right.
What he said.
Exactly what he said.
We have a motion.
Motion by
I'll second
Commissioner
that.
Stewart.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay. That was easy.
Okay.
All right, moving down to our minutes from our special meeting. The one we had last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess it was.
So glad we had that.
Yeah.
I'll have to put it on tonight.
Yeah. I read through it. I didn't have any issues. Anybody else?
I did not have any issues. I did look at.
No good? Okay, so we want a motion to accept them?
Motion to accept the minutes from
April 20th.
April, the special meeting on April 29th.
We have a motion to accept.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That. Anything else anybody wants to bring up?
Yes, just real quick, the Your Water Matters public outreach will be 9/18, 18th of September. We're going together just once before then. Should be a smooth event. I'm not looking for anything real different, but we do want input if there was any lessons learned or things we should expand on.
You gonna get Ben back out here to make didn't he make the 3D printed?
You know, I might have to call Ben. He hasn't reacted. I sent him, I CC'd him on the emails, but he hasn't reacted.
He did thank us for including him, but I don't think, I'm trying to remember the email.
And some I need to.
With nothing left on the agenda, this meeting is adjourned.